What's up? Marwa, those are some nice curtains. Everybody hear me? Okay, good. We'll give it a few more minutes here. David, you don't have your assistant today?
I guess these aren't going to work.
All right, we'll give it one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. Got a few things to talk about before we get to questions. Good to see everybody looking well and glad you're here. Danielle, that looks to be a nice picture behind you. I don't know what it is, but it looks nice. You guys can feel free to unmute yourself at this moment. It's okay. Everyone's muted. You come in muted. That's the way Zoom does things. So
Thank you. That picture on the wall right there is a picture that my son did last year in art class.
oh, it's beautiful.
Printed it out and we got a frame for it.
That's nice. Yeah, I like it.
This is my calendar that I don't have anything written on. My whiteboard that's completely blank.
It's probably a little disturbing. Oh, look at Jared's got some stuff there. This looks pretty full though. Jared, what the heck, man?
I got a lot of classes.
I guess so. I guess they're a little more demanding than mine, maybe.
And now I have to schedule everything myself for it all because it's all online. So
Gotcha. And one of my students in my other class was talking about her English class and how many more assignments she has now. And I thought, wow, that seems extreme. Seems like you should have less assignments.
yeah, this stuff is crazy.
You know, I agree. Ever since the university went to online, I feel like these professors are sitting back and thinking, oh, well, they're quarantined at home, so they have all this time. And I feel like they've added more assignments and they just keep adding and adding and adding. And it's making me crazy.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, I don't think that's fair.
Me neither. Me neither.
I mean, I guess some of my fellow professors are treating this like a true online class, and maybe in an online class you do that stuff, but this isn't. This is we switch things, so I think you have to be flexible in how you approach it. But
not just because we're quarantined doesn't mean like I'm doing my own school. I'm having to homeschool my children.
right.
And then I'm also working from home. So there is really no quarantine free time. Like I'm laying on the couch popping bonbons or something, it's not what's happening here at all. So sure, let's just throw a few more assignments at her. Why not?
Of course. All right, looks like we're mostly here. So my screen keeps getting bigger and bigger with different people. That's great. So feel free to share your screen if you want. If you don't, that's fine too. You don't have to be on camera. I don't want you to feel like you have to be seen because you don't. So it's certainly up to you. All right, let's go ahead and get started because we only have 40 minutes for this thing. And I got a few housekeeping things to talk about first. Excuse me. So the first thing I want to talk about is attendance. So last week I tried to kind of capture, everybody who was in the window to the side, my side of my window here for attendance. And I think I got it, but it was just getting a little hard to manage that way. So the thought had crossed my mind to just not do attendance ever again. But then I got a nasty gram from the school that said I had to do weekly attendance. And since we meet weekly, I guess that works. So from now on, what we'll do is I've posted a discussion this week on our D2L site, and it's just basically called attendance. So all you got to do is check in there and just post something like I was here or I was there or whatever you want to say. Just let me know that you're still alive, that you're still attending this class in one way, shape, or another. And it doesn't mean that you have to be at the Q&A, but at least means that you've watched a video, you've been to a Q&A, you've done something class related, even if it's just think really hard about it for the week. So your attendance, hopefully, for the rest of the semester should be really good then, because I really don't require much, but you do have to post there. That way I have a record, and in case the school starts to yell at me or something, I can say, look, here's my record of people that were there. So when you get a chance between now and next Thursday, if you will, again, if you've never done a discussion, neither have I really, but I think you just go into the discussions and all you got to do is post a thread, and that thread could be anything you want it to be, just saying that you were here or something, that'll be fine. In other news from my department, last week I talked about us not having the department final nor have it being comprehensive, and unfortunately that's not going to be the case. So we are going to have a final as done by the department, and we are going to have it be a comprehensive final. However, I was able to successfully argue with my department chair that said, listen, you're asking my class to take an exam which measures the entire full semester of college algebra. And here's the problem. My class hasn't had a full semester of college algebra. Yes, we'll have met for a semester, but we lost a week due to snow. We lost a week, from this virus thing when we got an extra week of spring break. The week before that, a lot of you, rightfully didn't want to attend. We had kind of a skeleton class going on there, and that was fine too. I understand that. So, essentially we've really lost about 3 weeks, in my opinion, from this class. And so having you take the straight up department final, I fought against it because I just don't think you guys we're going to get that much material. It's not really you, it's both of us, right? I can only produce the material so fast, and we only do meet once a week, for crying out loud. So anyway, I got at least her to agree that I can tailor that final. I can tailor questions out that we don't cover. So I think you'll find that it's going to cover things that we have covered, and I think you guys are going to be just fine on it. To that event, also as part of this, they also release a review package, if you will, right? And so I'm going to redo the schedule a little bit so that, and I haven't got it done yet. So by next week or somewhere down this week, I'll send you guys all an email with the updated schedule on D2L, so you'll have that. But on as far as what we're going to cover and when, but definitely one of the things I'm going to adjust for is the second to last week. We're going to cover the review sheet in depth. All right. So I'm going to try to have the videos done for that ahead of time so that you can watch the videos on just the review sheet versus just doing regular assignments. And then really the great thing about the review package is that essentially it is the test is a subset of it. So if you can do the questions on the review pack, you can do the final. All right. And I think you'll be fine. And the other thing I wanted to do because of that too is I wanted to de-emphasize it a little bit as far as your grade goes. So I took a look at your first test, and everybody, for the most part, got above 90, which was awesome. So what I've done in the grade book is instead of counting each test equally, okay, so we were down to 2 tests. And if you remember the first day, I said the syllabus that each test essentially counted for 24% of your final grade, which would give us a grand total of 72% for the exams. What I've done instead is, since we cut one exam out, I thought I was going to go 50-50, but I don't like putting that kind of pressure on you on a comprehensive test because when I was a student, I hated comprehensive tests. I still hate them. As a professor, I hate them. So what I've done is this. I've redone the grading scheme so that the first test is going to count 2/3 of your test grade. So it's going to count for basically 48% of your final grade because most of you did really well on it. So I think grade-wise, I'm setting you up for some really good success here. And then the final will only count for the standard 24% as we'd hoped for in the beginning. So really I basically just took 26% or so out of that second exam or that final exam that's not going to go towards that. So you can do a little bit less well on the second exam and not have it kill you on your grade. So that was the hope what I wanted to do for that. Because like I said, I hate comprehensive tests. I hate I have to give it. It's just one of those things, folks. You know it. But I will prepare you, and you will be as prepared as I can make you for this thing. So, hey, David's got another new assistant there. All right. This looks a fairly new one, David. How old is this one?
I just turned 5 months.
5 months. All right. Good looking one. All right. I like that. Man, if that was that good looking, who knows what would have happened to me. Ooh. As my mom said, I was an ugly baby, and then eventually I grew up to be cute, and then I don't know what happened. I guess at some point I peaked and it was like the parabola. I went back down the other side, backsliding back to where ugly again or something. So all right. So before we get to questions about hopefully the videos that you watched last week, and by the way, the new videos will be posted at 8 p.m. again. So I think there's I think there's like 9 of them this week. None of them are really that long. There just happen to be that many examples that I needed to cover for that. But I do want to take the whiteboard up, and I want to show you how to calculate your grade right now. So I know we're sort of one exam away from seeing that. And again, because I've de-emphasized that, but I do want you to have an idea of what you need on that test. I think it's important going forward. So let me bring the whiteboard up here and show you how to calculate your own scores here. All right, so hopefully everyone's seeing my whiteboard here. So let's talk about how to calculate your score. All right, so it starts out, at the beginning, we said that attendance is one piece of your grade, and that counted for 14% of your final grade here. And homework also accounted for 14% of your final grade. And then we had the exams, and that counted for 72% of your final grade. And you add those numbers up and you get 100%. All right, so attendance, I've cut attendance down and whatnot. So right now our attendance is really out of 11 times, I think. And I may go one more right now. So what you're going to do to calculate attendance is you're going to ask yourself, how many times have I been gone? And you can look on the attendance register. Don't look on the attendance grade on detail. Look at the attendance register, and hopefully after tonight I'll have it updated for at least last week. Or you just know, hey, I've only missed so many times, right? So I always give you 1 or 2 free misses. So as long as you're, 2 times, as long as you haven't missed more than 2 times, you're going to get the full attendance grade here. So if you've missed more than 2 times, basically out of 11, then you're going to end up with like 10. So let's say this person, I'm going to make up somebody. This is nobody in the class. I'm going to just make up somebody who said, I've been gone 3 times. All right. So really, I'm going to take it 10 out of 11. And the way I calculate that is I bring my calculator up and I say, calculator, give me 10 divided by 11. And it gives me a decimal. And then I take that decimal times 14. All right. So in this case, this person, again, nobody in the class, would have 12.73, 727. All right. 727 GPA grade points towards this 100. So they lost, a 1.3 points from the 14, which isn't terrible. All right. Homework. We only had 8 assignments. So your homework is already calculated in D2L. And so you should be able to look at that. And again, if you have all 11 or you haven't missed any and you don't plan to miss any, obviously we have to future cast a little bit here. And then you're going to have 14 here. Same with homework. If you're like, hey, all my homework was done, then you're going to have 14 here. If you had less than 8 assignments, then same thing goes. Let's say this person had 7 out of 8 assignments for some reason, just to give us a number here. And we do the same thing. Well, then I take 7 divided by 8, get that decimal and then multiply it times 14. And it is 12.25. So again, lost about a point and, a little over a point, I guess, 1.75 points towards the final. Not terrible. All right. Then your exams, right? So we have one last exam, and that's what this calculation is designed to do, is to try to give us what we need on that final exam to get whatever grade we're hoping to get in this class. So what I've done is say that the first exam is going to count for 48%, and the second exam counts for 24%. And you put those together, that does give you 72. So what you're going to do, though, is you're going to look at your score that you got on the first exam. And some of you got more than 100, which is great. So if you got more than 100, like let's say you got 102, you would put down 1.02 for this calculation. Let's say this person got a 91. We'll put it on the lower end of the A scale here. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this times 0.91. We're going to convert our test score to a decimal. And again, if it's more than 100, you'd have 1.0, whatever it may be. I don't think anybody had more than 104. So if you had 104, you're going to have 1.04, which is great. But let's say this person had 91. Again, nobody in the class. And so what I'm going to do is just that. Take 0.91 times 48 and see what that is. That is 43.68, which is great. And then what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to add up the numbers that I do have. I'm going to add this 12,727, this 12,255, this 43.68, and see what I get. I get 68,657. Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I want an A. So I'm going to take 90 and I'm going to subtract whatever score I got here, 68.657. All right, that tells me it is 21.343. All right, and then what I do is I'm going to divide that by, the last test is with a grand total of 24. And so I'm going to take that and divide by that. So I say 21.343 divided by 24, and it says the answer is 0.889 basically. So basically it's an 89%, which is about right, because you need to average roughly about an 88-ish% to get an A if everything else is perfect. So obviously in this case, this person's attendance and its homework was not perfect. And so an 89 is about the sweet spot for that. Now, could we hedge our bets a little bit here? Not hard to make up attendance. But in this person's case, remember, I have given you an opportunity, if you didn't get full credit on your homework, to talk to me and see if we can come up with something here. Because every point counts. You know, there's a way to increase this maybe to at least 7.5, which would then decrease the score needed here. Because 89 is nothing to scoff at. You know, it's still a fairly high number, but it'd be a lot higher if I had counted this exam as 50% versus only counting it for 24%. So that's what I want you to do. When you get a chance, do this calculation for yourself. Ask yourself what you're going to need in that final to get whatever grade that you're hoping to get. Now, some of you have done really well, and maybe it'll be really low. But don't shoot for the low score, okay? Years ago, I had this student. We did this calculation. We did class a little bit differently then. And he came up after class, and he said, Jeff, I'm not sure this is right because it looks like I was supposed to score a 55% on this test. Is that right? And so we did the calculation together, and yeah, it was 55%. I was like, this is great. You know, it should be easy to get an A in this class then. So he came in for the final. He took, you know, there was 10 questions. Each question was worth 10. He did half the questions and left. Now he needs a 55. So shouldn't he have done at least 6 questions and left? But even then, the 6 questions or 5 questions he did were very terrible. So, you know, I felt bad giving him a B, but that's what he earned. So if your scores are really good and you're like, hey, I only need to get a, you know, 70 on the final exam or a 65 or whatever, don't shoot for that, okay? No, you have a lot of more wriggle room to you know, if a problem gets on your nerves, to just kind of half-ass it and move on. But don't ever shoot for the low. Always shoot for as many points as you can get, and then we'll see what happens from there, all right? Does that make sense to everybody? Terrific. So, and if you forget how to do this, I will post this video as well at some point tonight or tomorrow to our YouTube room as well. So you'll have it so you can see your calculation. But I definitely encourage each person to do it for yourself so you know exactly what you need. And if you're unsure, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to calculate myself for you as well, and then discuss and see what you got to make sure that we're on the same page for things. So just to give you that extra assurance. All right. Terrific. So let me clear this off then, and we'll talk about questions that you may have from the assignments from today. All right. So what questions do you have from the assignments? What do we have here? Hello?
Can you do section 3.4, page 222, number 5?
All right. 3.4, 222, number 5. Yes, I can. I'll try to anyway. At least show you a way to do it when there's fractional values there. All right. So this is the.
I don't like fractions.
Well, nobody does except me. But even then, even that's fun. All right. So the points they gave us. Let's see here. We had 0, 6. We have the wonderful 2 and 22/3. And then finally, we have the lovely -9 and 99 halves. Just some astounding values here. All right. The great thing about this problem is what? We get a certain point from the values right here. All right. In the end, remember, f of x is going to equal something x squared, something x, and then something else. And the something else we already know, right? When they give us 0, 6, they're giving us the y-intercept. When they give us the y-intercept, that's also the c value. And so if this is A here and B here and C, they've given us the C value at 6 already. By giving us 0, 6, they're giving us the y-intercept. They're giving us the C value. All right, you with me so far? Okay, so now our job is to figure out what is A and what is B. All right, so we're going to set this up in the same kind of format here because we know that when we put 2 in for X, the end result is going to give us 22/3. When we put in -9 for X, the end result is going to give us 99 halves. So let's go ahead and do that. So we know that we're going to have A times 2 squared, because remember it's AX squared. So this is A and then X squared here, plus B times our X, again of 2, plus our C, which we know is 6 now, equals our lovely 22/3. All right, we'll come back to that in just a second. Then for the second one, same thing, except it's -9 and 99 halves. So it's going to be A times -9 squared plus B times -9 plus 6 equals 99/2. So there's our setup. All right, in the first equation here, again, let's call this 1 for lack of a better term, and this one 2 for lack of better terms. All right, so in equation 1, we have 2 squared, that's 4. So right now we have 4A. We have 2 times B, we have 2B. And we have, I'll keep the 6 where it's at just for the second. And it still equals 22/3. We'll deal with that fraction in just a moment. Second equation, same thing, except we have -9 squared, which is 81. So 81A. We're going to have -9B. We're still going to have our plus 6. And this time it equals 99/2. All right, so this is the point where I want to deal with the fraction because I don't like fractions in this kind of problem. So in the first equation, we're going to multiply everything times 3 so we can get rid of the fractional value here. In the second equation, we're going to multiply everything times 2 to get rid of everything there. So again, in equation 1, essentially we're going to multiply everything times 3. So that's going to give us 12A, so 4 times 3, 12. 6B, 6 times 3, 18, so 18 there, and it equals 22. All right, we're going to move that 18 over in the next step, but we'll leave it for there for right now. In the second one, we're going to multiply everything times 2. So that's going to give us 162A, a large value there, 18B, 12, and 99. All right, so we've dealt with the fractions. That's terrific. So now let's make sure we just have A and B on the same side and move things around here. So back over here, equation number 1 now is going to say 12A plus 6B equals 22 minus 18. And equation number 2 is going to read as 162A, unfortunately, and then minus 18B, and now equals 99 minus 12. All right, so now in the equation number 1, we can put the 22 and 18 together. So we can say 12A and 6B and 4. In equation 2, we can call this 162A still, and 18B and 87. All right, so now comes the question is, can we divide to make these a little bit easier to get rid of? Like in the first one, I see everything's divisible by 2. I don't know if 87 is divisible by anything. Maybe 3? Does 3 go in there? I think 3 goes in there. I don't think 6 does, though, does it? No. All right, so yeah, we can do. We might as well do that if we can make the numbers a little bit smaller. So we'll just take this entire equation and divide it by 2, and we'll take this entire equation and divide it by 3. So equation 1 then will become 6A and 3B and 2. Equation number 2 then will become, geez, I don't know what 162 divided by 3 is. Let's see here. I had to pull my calculator back on. 54, all right, so Studio 54A here. Minus 6B equals, what's 87 divided by 3? 29. All right, so a little bit nicer anyway, not a ton nicer, but a little bit nicer. But here's the great news. There's a plus on this 3B, there's a minus on this 6B. So if I take the first equation and multiply it back by 2, I guess I could have left it, but multiply it back by 2, that'll give me 6B and negative 6B. We can cancel that. So equation number 1, we're going to remultiply back by 2. So again, by 12A and 6B and 4. Sometimes you never know this when you go in. And then we'll keep the second equation as is. We won't touch it at all because there's a natural elimination set up here. Looks like negative 29 for some reason. It should be positive 29, I believe. There's no negatives in here other than that -9 that we had. Now we're ready to eliminate. Let's draw our elimination here. The B's cancel. You got 12 and 54. That's going to make 66A. Over here, you're going to have 33 there, dividing 66 on both sides. Tells us we get a fractional answer for A. So we get 1/2 for A then. So A is going to be 1/2. So we can come up here and we know that this thing starts as 1/2 x squared. We know it ends with +6. So the only thing we're missing now is we're missing what is the B value. So we're going to go back to any of the originals up here to see if we can calculate for B. And I say, let's use the first one here. In fact, the first one, when we got rid of the fractional value, where was that? I guess it was right here, right? We had 12A plus 6B equals 4. We can do that. All right, so let's use that. So 12 times A is 1/2, plus 6 times B, you don't know what B is, equals 4. Well, 12 times 1/2 is 6, so 6 plus 6B equals 4. If we move the 6 to the other side, we're going to have 6B equals 4 minus 6, which means that 6B is equal to -2. We divide 6 on both sides. B is going to be a fractional value. It's negative. And 2 over 6 is the same as 1 over 3. And so now we can say this one up here is safely -1/3 x. And so the f of x is 1/2 x squared minus 1/3 x plus 6. So a lot of fun fractions on that one, Danielle. I know that you were excited about it, about seeing it, about doing it, but that is the method. Thankfully, I don't believe the one I've seen on the final when you have to do elimination has fractional values in it. So that's good news. Keep your fingers crossed that that doesn't change on me. But the method's the same method. It never changes. So values may look icky, but the process stays the same. Danielle, if you're talking, you're still on mute, my dear. Now
I'll
you are.
figure it out.
All right,
later.
there you go.
All right. So I realize on the test you're going to want to see all this work, but for the final answer, what we're going to square out and make the answer, it's that thing at the top there?
Yes.
The top right?
Yeah, I'll just square it out here for you. This
Okay,
would be,
thank
yes,
you.
this is the end. The other stuff is all the work, but this is the answer. So
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. And you'll have, again, assuming I don't get told otherwise, I will treat this like a test I've done online before, which is I post the test after we're done with our last Q&A session, and then you have so many hours to get it done. So typically, our last Q&A session, if you look at the schedule, again, is a little bit earlier than normal. So that's still the plan, so I can have the test posted early enough. So hopefully I can have the test posted by let's say 7:30, and then it would be due back by 12:30, as in 12:30, half hour past midnight. So you have 5 hours to work on it. So you'll have plenty of time to work on it. Again, that's my plan. Who knows if the department, seems like my direction from my department changes almost daily. So I will say, take whatever I say tonight with a grain of salt, because who knows where it's going. I'm assuming we're staying stable because for 2 days now, nothing's changed, but that's been 2 days. Who knows what happens Monday. So I don't know. I guess we're all discovering new things in this new time.
Professor.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if we have time, but 9, I try to do it twice and I come up with different numbers every time.
All right. Well, let's see how much time.
And then the first time I did it, I got the numbers, but not in the order that they should be.
Okay.
I don't know what I did.
That's a little odd. All right. Well, we can see how far we can get in the time remaining. So let's clear this off here. And let's see if we can do number 9 here. So number 9 is we have points of -1, 6, and 2, 3, and 3, 10. So the difference on this one, right, is that we don't get any of the values. We don't get A, we don't get B, we definitely don't get C. So this makes it just a little bit more challenging. Forget our values here, right? Something A, something B, something C. So we got to set up 3 different eliminations here. So let's just jump in, all right? Equation number 1 is going to be A times -1 squared plus B times -1 plus a C we don't know equal to 6. Equation number 2 is A times 2 squared plus B times 2 plus C equals 3. And then equation number 3 is going to be A times 3 squared plus B times 3 plus C equals 10. All right, so let's see, we can rock and roll this. I just got you have less than 10 minutes, so that's all right. Thank you, Zoom, for letting me know. All right, so -1 squared is 1, so that's going to be A. You got -1 times B, that's minus B. You got plus C equals 6. We like that one. You got 2 squared, that's going to be 4A. You got positive 2B. We got plus C again, and this time 3. And then equation number 3 here, we're going to have 3 squared 9A and 3B and plus C equals 10. All right. So in this one, I think that the natural elimination that we want to take care of is, well, it's not really natural, but we're going to use equation 1 and 2 first. So let's put our order down. We're going to use 1 and 2, and then we're going to use 1 and 3, simply because this B is already negative. So I can multiply times 2 and get rid of the B in the first time, and then multiply it by 3 and get rid of the B the second time. So the goal is to use 2 of the 3, or so 1 of the 3 twice and the other 2 once. All right, so I'm going to choose to use 1 twice and the other 2 once. So in equation 1, we're going to multiply that by 2 so we can have our elimination. So we're going to have 2A minus 2B plus 2C equals 12. Equation number 2, we're not going to touch, so it's going to be 4A, 2B, 1C, and 3. And we're going to eliminate this. So this is going to make equation number 4 out of this whole thing. It's going to give us 6A, no B's, 3C, and 15. Great. All those are going to be divisible by 3, so we might as well just take care of it right now. So that's going to give us sort of a modified 4, which is going to give us 2A, 1C, and 5. All right, so that's really our equation 4 there. Now we're going to use 1 and 3. And again, for 1, I'm going to multiply this time times 3. So this time it's going to be 3A minus 3B plus 3C equals 18. And equation number 3 this time I'm not going to touch. So it's going to stay 9A plus 3B plus C equals 10. We put this together, we're going to get 12A. We're going to have no B's. We're going to have 4C. And we're going to have 28, which means each one of these is divisible by 4. So let's go ahead and do that and make it a little bit easier too. That's going to give us 3A and 1C and 7. Or if you like 7. Okay, don't try to explain that one on video later. All right. So now we can put 4 and 5 together because this is really equation 5 here. That's really 4. So what we have is 2A plus C equals 5 for one, and 3A plus C equals 7 for the other. Looks like we need to multiply 1 times a negative, and then we'll be able to cancel our C's out. So let's do the top one by a -1 here. So that's going to give us minus 2A minus C equals minus 5. Bottom one will stay the same, 3A, C, and 7. Negative 2A and positive 3A is A. The C's cancel, and we get 2. All right, so all this work, A is 2. So we're going to step back 1 now. We're going to go back to the 2A plus C equals 5, and we're going to put A equals 2. So we're going to have 2 times 2 plus C equals 5. 4 is 2 times 2 plus C equals 5. Normally we start to move things around, but I think we can logically do this one. 4 plus some number equals 5. I think C is 1. Positive 1 at that. So there we go. So then the last thing is we're going to step back all the way to the beginning because now we have an A and a C and we can solve for B. And I say let's go ahead and let's use the first one just as A, negative B, C, and equals 6. So let's do that here. So our A was 2, so that's 2. Minus our B, we don't know. Plus C, which is 1, equals 6. I'm going to trade the 6 and the B around. So I'm going to have 2 plus 1 minus 6 is equal to positive B. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 minus 6 is -3. And so back up here, -3. Now here's the trick to see if you got it right. I mean, there's a lot of work there that gets us this far. And so the trick is this. Go back and pick one of the points. It doesn't matter which point. Lost my mouse here. It doesn't matter which point you pick from the beginning. Let's try 310. If I stick in 3 for x, if I've done this right, then the answer should be 10. That's a good check for us. So let's see here. So if we put 3 in for x, that's going to be 3 squared, which is 9 times 2, or let's do that over here, 18. Then we put in 3 for x, -3 times 3, that's going to be -9. So we got that. And then finally we have plus 1. Let's see, 18 minus 9 is 9, and 9 plus 1 equals 10. What it should have equaled, 10. So we know we got it right. That's the easy way to always check to see if you got this right rather than looking to the back of the book. Of course, you could look at the back of the book.
So Jeff, I got those answers. I got A equals 2, B equals -3 or -3, and C equals 1, but my work does not look like yours. I don't
Yeah.
know what I did. Don't ask me. But if I get the answers right, does that count for something?
Yes. You must have done something akin to that, Danielle, in your process, or you wouldn't have got those values. So you know what?
Well,
Doesn't
I'll
always
tell
have to
you
look
what.
like mine. It'll work.
I did watch those videos over and over again, like you said I would. So maybe that's it.
Maybe it's stuck in there finally. Well, see that
I
at
think
least.
I know what I did wrong.
All right, you know what you did wrong. That's a good. What did you do wrong, Eliza?
I was I didn't multiply the total by the number. So I just did the equation, but not the total.
You forget the classic mistake which is not multiplying the right-hand side by whatever you're trying to
Yes.
multiply. Yes, you're certainly not alone. That's the key where people usually mess these problems up, is forgetting to multiply the right side. So when you're doing it, just make sure you take that thing all the way through from left to right.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely a classic mistake, though. That's all right. You're not alone. All right, so we squeezed it in. I don't know how we did it, but we squeezed it in. So we've got 4 minutes left. We might be able to squeeze one more in. I don't know about one of these equations, but something else maybe. How'd everybody like the disco?
I have a question.
Did you get the disco? All right. Yo, what's your question?
So do you happen to have the answers for 10 and 36 just to confirm whether or not I did get them right or not?
You know, that is a great question. And I wanted to see if anybody asked it one, because I wanted to see if you were doing it. So I don't have the answer on me at the moment, but I was going to send that out in an email after class here so that you could compare. Okay. But it was that was kind of a first test, because I know I don't usually ask even problems, but you know, part of my thing is to see if you're doing it. So I know that that confirms you're doing it, which is great. Thank you. And then the second thing is because I want to make sure you have enough problems to do to get it. And so, you know, normally we'd have time in class and I could make up other ones, but obviously we don't have that. So yeah, I will send those answers out for the even ones, and that'll be kind of a standard operating procedure. Is if we have time, I'll certainly do them if there's questions. If not, I will send the answers out to you in an email afterwards so everyone has it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Or I'll just post it as an announcement. One of the two. Maybe I'll post that one as an announcement, because the other email I want to send you. I don't want to clog your email box up. So I'll put that in the announcement section on D2L, what those answers are. All right?
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. And I just want to remind everybody, if you have questions or anything else, shoot me an email. I'm not checking it every day because I'm working like a dog between this job and my actual job. I'm putting more hours in now than it was when I actually went to the office. But I am trying to check at least every other day. So if you don't get a response from me right away, just be patient. I will get back to you. And if this stuff's not sticking and you need, you know, some time, you need some whatever, I know the school is doing virtual tutoring for free still. And if that doesn't work, let me know, contact me. We'll figure something out. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick
Bye.
question, not really related to
Yeah.
or anything, just a class.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry. We have a minute and 20 seconds.
So I know there's been talk in my biology class about the guaranteed transfer being affected. Is that going to happen with math at all, or is there any word on that?
I haven't heard any word on that. I mean, I can't imagine that they've talked about it, but I can't imagine that they would do that at all, because everybody's under the same part here. I mean, that's part of the reason why we're taking this comprehensive final, is to prove that, you know, you've got a semester's worth of knowledge, and so that you're good to go. So maybe biology because of labs.
Yeah,
involved?
it was. Yeah, a little bit. We were falling behind in our labs because of everything and whatnot, and there's certain requirements we had to meet. But if they haven't said anything, I'm sure it's fine.
No, I think,
just asking because it was on my mind.
No, it's a good question. I mean, and you know, and I think that's part of the reason why why we have to do this comprehensive final again, just to prove that we've gotten that knowledge, so that it is a guaranteed transfer. So, but yeah, I hadn't heard anything affected. If I do hear anything, I will definitely pass it on to you, though.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Ashley, you got a joke maybe? No?
No.
No.
Two men walk into a bar. First one turns to the second, says, "Oh, you didn't see it either, huh?"